Addiction thinks in circles, whereas invention thinks in spirals.
Yes. Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
love it. And spiral is not one dot, it's actually one seed becoming bigger and bigger and bigger
Mhm.
and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So I'm grateful for that. And then two, just the pain just reminding me like this body is so amazing.
Where else can you go
Hmm.
other than inside? And
Hmm.
when you're so almost like forced to face yourself, you find lots of love. No, 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 no. I'm recording.
Mm.
Mm. Where are you at? Reveal yourself.
Boom.
Oh, nice. Hola, hola, hola.
I'm Elisa.
Hey, why are you sick?
Oh, I don't know.
You
Bugs
live
going around.
you live in Hawaii. Y'all are healthy and immortal.
We have three young kids, and there's stuff going around. Stuff goes around.
Oh.
It's just part of you live on an island. Everybody catches the same thing, I think.
Mhm.
So it's no big deal. It's been a great opportunity because I was able to make a correct decision yesterday. Carly offered me the day off. We were supposed to go to Kona, a long drive with the kids,
Oh.
go to the beach, go shopping, come home. It's usually a full day. And I was getting like fever symptoms. She's like, "Do you want to stay home?" I was like, "No."
Mm.
And the reason why is it's become very clear to me that one of my biggest emotional triggers is being left alone, whether that's intentional or on accident.
Mm.
Um, and I can like manage, but I tend to slip into behaviors that are not like I just don't feel that great after, you know. I'm like,
Mm.
yeah. So to me, it became really clear like I would rather be quote unquote suffering and with my family than stay at home and rest, but actually feel worse after. Like I think for my recovery in that instance, I needed to go with. So that was a cool decision. And then Carly got really sick last night. So I got to step up and be a man of service. I was starting to feel bad because I'm like, tomorrow's Mother's Day, and of course I'm sick on Mother's Day. And like shit, like this happens every holiday. I get sick. And then when she got sick, I was like, Carly, this is a little bit twisted, but I'm grateful that you got more sick than me, because then I could serve you and the family and take care of the kids and put all the stuff away.
No.
Um, so yeah, you know, it's interesting because like I still feel really happy throughout all this. It's just
Mm.
different. It's just a different like quality of experience. And I think I've moved away from equating like thrill and excitement with happiness.
Mm.
And that's been really helpful too, just reframing that as you can find it in anything.
Mm.
And you don't have to, it's not like if you're sick, depressed, anxious, then you can't be happy at the same time. That's just not true.
Mm.
So it's been,
It sounds like your emotional needs were fulfilled and more important to be fulfilled over the physical needs. It's
yeah,
like it carried over more, almost like the weighted importance for fulfillment.
right.
Nice.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Could mean so many things.
Good. Um, it's full moon tonight in
Mhm.
Scorpio, which is reloaded, overloaded, deep, deeper, the deepest emotional revelations. So, Who can take it takes it. Who can't, which is majority, which all these emotions are coming up, and it's like almost like so deep and so rich. If you're a water sign, which you and I are lucky to be, then this is like a gift to feel because we're so used to feeling a lot of things, feeling a lot of things. So I'm actually enjoying just like observing how I feel and, like, yeah, today and just like, going with the flow. Happy Mother's Day to Carly.
Yeah.
She's a warrior mom for sure.
Yeah. She's a good mom. Cole's birthday is
But,
this week, so it's a good reminder.
hmm, do you do anything special or?
Um, I feel like I feel like we try to make the day to day as special as we can. Um, so we bought like a water slide thing, and then we also have a pool. They're just like inflatable little stuff,
Mm,
but and we're getting a climbing wall because there's a potential that we might be permanent homeschoolers from here on out, and we want to be prepared if that's the case. So having
ooh,
activities for them to do and explore.
permanent, like for good.
Potentially, I mean, everything can and will change, right? But
Mm,
for the foreseeable future, it's the school has served us for the past year, but we are not feeling aligned with continuing.
mm.
So,
So I mean, good.
yeah,
A lot.
it's a challenge, right? Like we're gonna have to find a way to keep everyone occupied and for us to stay grounded in our relationship and not pulled apart by constantly serving kids because that space is important. So how can
Hmm.
we create space? There's all sorts of opportunities, right, to look at things that might traditionally be categorized as problems and find creative solutions. And I think that
Mm,
leads to a better life, one where we actively choose our hard, like they say, choose your hard, And there is a heart of like sending your kids to school when they report back that they aren't having a good time or they're getting bullied or they're not being challenged or they don't know what they're learning. So, yeah, exciting, emotionally very broad experience. And
mm.
I feel like it's another way to open up to all that life has to offer.
But can I just add
Yeah.
the bow or a cherry? You add the bow on that whole idea, which I think is really bold and beautiful and really powerful and strong. But almost like you two found a joint purpose.
Yeah.
And the joint purpose now it's like totally, you know, um, if you have a joint purpose, you no longer just think of yourself now. It's very much you two together towards something that is more meaningful than just your separate selves, figuring yourself, your evolution, and just like living together. But
Hmm.
now it's like, oh, you actually have a vision, have idea. And this type of relating is like almost like evolved way of relating. It sounds like for the greater good for your children, which is like unknown task, a
Hmm.
full blown fight for it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Congratulations. This is my friend called the revolution of relationship in a new modern age of relationships, meaning no more are we now playing a role of being a mom and a dad and a provider and a nurturer, a feminine and masculine. And no longer do we just satisfy our souls and as soulmates, but now we're actually having a shared purpose and we're doing
Hmm.
something much, much larger than us. So
Hmm.
this is big and it's good for your love too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Well, I just did the
Embracing
astral.
embracing the dark side.
Oh. The 28 gene key, embracing the dark side. What do you think about the egregore of fear? I love the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really good one from start to finish. I found it to be
Mm,
really relevant and potent. The egregore. It's like you think we escape it, and he talks about how we develop technology to try to solve this problem, and then we create a new one. Like if we solve immortality, and I think I'm blending a little bit from city to shadow here, but um, we think like, okay, technology is improving exponentially. The advent of AI and what that means, and if we can apply the exponential increase to longevity, then we need not fear death. And he's like, had some download that showed him in that state, you become actually more fearful because I think he said something about not being grounded in, I wish I could find it, like the emotional aspect of it. But there needs to be kind of like a touch point between the genetic change, because that would be like a really bizarre mutation to just happen. Like all of a sudden, you don't live to 80, you live to continuing on
2000.
and on and on and on and on. And then the body is just along for that ride, whatever that means. And death comes in more than just aging. So we have this fear of death. We try to narrow it into like, well, if we can solve it, then we would solve a very large issue, but it has an emotional component that needs to be looked at. And I would imagine with AI and tech and what's happening that it will probably be overlooked as we
Mm,
develop the solutions.
mm, mm. And to this part, it means because what you're saying is that because we are almost don't have capacity, awareness, and consciousness to evolve through the immortality, our minds think it's just, how did he say it here?
Just
The,
he said like living on into the future.
yeah, to live entirely within right. So it's almost like we think we know what the immortality is, but it's actually not what we think it is because our mind can just go that much, that far. That's it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It cannot just go endlessly. It cannot go to forever, to infinity.
Hmm.
And for us to desire this much or to actually have this feeling which stems out of fear for dying out, not only physically, but yet on a soul level and all energy level. It's almost like we want to live forever, which what you're saying is that he explains that we can maybe genetically modify genes to live forever, but our mind, our ego, our soul, there's so much more to die out that is actually not supposed to live forever. It's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to evolve. It's supposed to die and resurrect and die and resurrect and evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve at every stage. That kind
Hmm.
of scared me a little bit. I wrote, ooh, scary. Imagine if you really want to, like be beautiful forever.
Yeah. 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 It's it's really we're at a really bizarre turning point, and we're approaching this age that he talks about in the 55th,
Mm-hmm.
2027 being a pivotal shift. And I try to use AI as much as I can with my work to make things simpler and free up time. And the more I step into it and the more I see from other creators, it's like the doorway of what we can do as humans is getting narrower and narrower. Like there's not much left. We have our perspective, we have our experiences, we have our emotions. But anything that's like coding, building, writing, video now is it's that's starting to come up. So it's like, you know, we're being faced with a really big fear. And this shift, I think, in 2027 is tied in with this shadow, the egregore, we're trying to solve like one of the big unknowns of life, which is its natural opposite, the death, and the unexpected. We're trying to create some kind of way to live where we don't have to face it. We don't have to be in that state of like the liminal space, right? The unknown. So, yeah,
Hmm.
it's, I mean, for you to be honest and just say this is scary, I think for me, there's some level of like disassociation where I push myself back from it, like really sinking into what that would be like.
Mm.
Um, so I might return to this when I have like that psychological energy, because right now I'm pretty, I'm in a conservative state, and I might return to it and just kind of dwell on it, maybe write about it,
Mm.
think more deeply into what could be coming.
Shadow of this gift is purposelessness,
Mm,
meaning, and when I contemplate about what does it mean not to have a purpose, it almost feels like what does it mean not to contribute? It means that you don't see valuable self. You don't see the value that you're here. Your value is diminished. It's gone.
mm,
It's like, but I'm here for a reason. And there's a big part of me that says, hey, I'm here. I happen to be here. I'm in a present. I feel evolution in me. I feel I can debate. I have this intellectual mind that is helping me. I have consciousness. I have awareness. I have the physiological needs. I have, like almost like, I think we touched this on the 27th. It's like there's this genetic need for us to survive. And no matter what, if you go down into our primal needs, it's like we're gonna do anything as a
mm,
human beings to survive as a civilization. And we have it on this deep, 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 deep level genetically. That yes, a lot of evolution is happening on the technological side, and we are in, Pluto and Aquarius. It's like imminent. Like you have, it's like we can't run away from it. But how I see it, and here's one sentence from last week that I carried over. You only believe the God that you believe in exists. The God you don't believe in does not exist. And the power that we're giving away so easily now, really fast, to AI, because we no longer debate, we no longer want to sit and create because it's easier. Why would I sit there and paint something when AI can do a much better job? So we're
mm.
giving up easily, faster and
Yeah.
faster. Not only that, we're actually getting used to not using our intellectual capital, not using our capacity, and we're just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. To me, this means we're opening ourselves more and more and more to emptiness, but not the higher level of emptiness or silence in a CD level, rather than the fear, which is like, this feels scary. There's not
Yeah.
one person that doesn't say today in the world that AI is not scary, but yet we're still doing it.
Hmm.
And to me, it's like, okay, but I can choose not to use it, but I'm still belonging to the collective. So I have to figure out how to use it. But at the same time, I also I have this need that I'm recognizing that only human and only connection with the other can give me.
Hmm.
And this comes with so far talks, the feeling of transmission, the attunement to another suffering, to another human being needs. I think we're refining a very human, more of these untangible, unworldly human qualities because we're now pushed to actually do just that.
Hmm.
So I don't have the doomsday mentality because there's the part of me that doesn't want to die out as a humanity
Hmm.
because I love humanity. And I rather think, what can I do to contribute while I'm here in this present moment? And what is it that I can shift in order to feel the survival is possible? And there is a potential for it rather than feeling a fear that there's nothing I can do. And that's the only thing that I can do, literally. So, right. So, would you rather share the doomsday mindset, or would you rather share, hey, but we can still try? I'm freaking alive. I'm still here, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah. And I love that perspective. And I love the ability for us to continually choose life. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Um, AI and everything that it brings is inevitable. It's past the point of like put the reins on it and regulate it and like it's it's gone. Every company is using AI now and they're developing new tools. Um, like you get on software now that you have used for years and all of a sudden they have an AI feature that you can just plug and play. So it's happening and of course there's things to be concerned about on a collective level, but on an individual level, um, there's only so much more that we have to fear beyond like that's almost the thing is like the egregore wants to draw us up into a very high viewpoint around, well, you're all doomed because you're going to be purposeless when there's
Mm,
AI. And it's like, no, if I'm just here and now in my present state, there's so much I can do. And in fact,
mm-hmm,
these AI tools are really wonderful because they free up my space and my time to be more creative. Like my writing is better because of AI tools, not because I'm giving it away and letting it do the thinking for me. I'm coming up with the ideas, I'm coming up with structure, I'm working alongside it, and it's just doing this work that, you know, the only people that are out to protect it are college professors, you know, who are like, you need to write 5,000 word essays and do this
mm-hmm.
amount of work to prove that you're a good writer. That's not what good writing is. That's not what good artistry is. It's just about the one piece that you're creating. So I think
Mm.
my perspective, just to add some flavor to yours, which I think yours is very beautiful and it's a good anchoring, grounding position to take on the whole thing. Um, my take is these this opportunity with AI increases the likelihood that we can fully express what it means to be human. And it's the contrast that brings it up. And so
Nice.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's exact that opposition because it feels like we're pushed in corner to evolve fast.
Hmm.
And we all
Oh, yeah.
know it, right?
Mhm.
Because right now, everything that we think, we thought, we build up, it's replaceable. Everything up to this point is replaceable.
Yeah.
It's copy. It's like plagiat. I don't know what the name for on English is. Like it's copy traded. Like right, some AI can
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
and trade it. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter. You have no rights any longer with everything that you know all the way up to now. But what AI can do is actually create something new. And that's only we can do that. And here's the difference. I just want to add one thing, which I think is so, so powerful. Have you ever read someone's script or someone's words? Because that's how we communicate. We communicate through the energy. We understand each other through the energy. We can't communicate via Bluetooth, right? So we have to speak. And I can touch you, but if you're not here, which now we're all global, right? So forget about it. I can talk to New Zealand, but also transmit the energy through the words. And this transmission comes from portals. Okay. So to me, it's like a higher level, higher dimension, something much higher than this level of living, this layer that we're in. Because if I were just to say my story through the AI translation using perfection of the words, I would lose all the flavor of it
Mm.
rather than speaking to you directly because I experienced something. And the experience itself, because it's coming out of the wound, and we'll talk about this specifically because it's Scorpio moon. And the reason why, because it's very much wound, its purposelessness is wound. It hurts to not have purpose, right? It's like, how can I live without the purpose?
Hmm.
It's so painful. And when you speak out of wound, then out of that vulnerability, which only comes from the heart, because mind doesn't hurt. It only comes when it's experienced on a deep, deep physical level or emotional level or spiritual level. Then there's a specific tonality that comes out, and there's specific words that carry the transmission that no AI tool can ever replace. So unless you know how to speak out of your truth, everything AI generated will actually, people now have ability to see and hear the bullshit and
Yeah.
the coldness.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is it's a factor of the bell curve, right? So there will always be groups of people that get duped by AI. And unfortunately, like seniors are a big target.
Mm,
Um, and they always have been, seniors have always been scammed.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
but on it's like, okay, if this is a personal wound that we have, like say your mom gets scammed by an AI bot, whatever,
Mm,
and you have this, okay, you have this story now to share to try to help people know that this is out there, like that they replicated your face and your voice because you have your face and voice on the internet, and they made it seem like it was you reaching out. And
mm,
it's just like we have the power ultimately. It's just a tool. It's how we use it. So when whatever comes up that seems like this is a horrible thing, we need to shut it down, or we're doomed because of it. It's just an opportunity of how we respond. And ultimately, it's the people that use it,
yeah.
and that's the unfortunate part. It's like it's kind of shining a light on the darkness of humanity, and because there's so much more ability now to trick people and use it in that way. But
Totally. And it's getting faster and
hmm
more almost like sounds like the truth. So what you're left with is almost like you can only know what is truth in your direct environment.
right.
And if I'm here in LA and I know exactly what's happening with LA fire, somebody in India cannot tell me that, right?
Yeah.
But India is going to send the online news. And I really want to hope that it's just a matter of time when people realize this exact thing, that we actually have to be in physical proximity in order to feel each other.
Yeah.
And in order to know, am I attuned to you or not? And if
hmm
not, then there's another part. So this is how we're kind of forced to come together again
Yeah.
in order to survive. Because there's in psychology, there's this saying, it's like every single animal in the animal kingdom has the way to survive. Some the venom, the claws, the spikes. We're the only ones that don't have anything in order to survive. We literally have no poison that we can actually defend. No, our survival need is attachment.
Mm.
Psychologically, we attach, but we don't attach to something that doesn't have the reciprocation of the humanity. This is
Mm.
why we feel when you have this like deep and intimate quality connection with someone and the deep talk, you are able to express yourself. I'm able to express myself. I feel seen because listen, your wound is my wound too. AI and an animal cannot see it because I and you share it on that level. And I am feeling seen and I'm feeling like I'm not alone because you are sharing the same wound. And plus, you're next to me. So your body will already talk to me on a bodily level. The nervous system will, either feel safe or not. No matter what I say, what I think. Now I have 5 different intelligences that I can actually implement: the mind, the heart,
hmm
the body, like genitals, the energy, the soul, you name it. And we're just like getting more and more and more. And I think this is like a massive evolution that it has to do with a lot of inner looking
hmm
against it, because it's the only way we'll survive. If you ask me.
Yeah. And that's again going back to the beauty of the contrast. It's almost
Hmm.
like an invitation for deeper awareness. And like you said, what's in our immediate vicinity. And to me, that reminds me of just being present. Because when you're present, you know, who cares what's going on? Like, I mean, you're not going to have the inclination to wonder what's happening in New York City. It just doesn't affect you. And when you're in awareness, you have the distinction to know that this is a distraction or it's numbing you in some way or you're using it to get a high dopamine. Like, it's just about deeper awareness. And so
Totally.
I think a really interesting unfolding of this, like obviously with AI, a lot of us are going to be forced into this sense of purposelessness.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, like white collar jobs will be first, but it's just going to cascade out through all levels of society, and it's going to be like, what's my purpose?
Hmm.
If what am I just going to be another coach among 80 billion? Um, but it's, it's just daring to dream. Like this goes back for me to I lived the life of purposelessness, and when I was working at a bank and getting an MBA and working my way up the ladder and thinking I could enact some change or have a great effect once I get there. And I just put it off for the future because I didn't know what else to do. I was in survival, to be honest. And throughout my evolution from that state to one of being an entrepreneur and self-sufficient, I've taken deeper and deeper steps into the risk of my dream. And also, like we don't always know on the first step, but it's important to just hear the whisper and then just give that a voice and see where it takes you. And I
Yeah.
think in that process, the unfolding of your dream and finding alignment with what the world needs and finding what excites you and finding what people will pay you for, there's so much opportunity. And the like honestly, we are entering the age of abundance with Aquarius. This could be a very abundant future we step into. And like going back to how you opened the talk today, it really is a matter of perspective. I think there's going to be people who think they're in hell this whole experience. And I
Yeah.
think we have the opportunity to be in heaven. It's just about how we create, how we show up, and what kind of connections we're making with people and the awareness that
Totally.
we bring, that depth.
Totally. And what you just said, you spoke out of. Like
Yeah.
I always say it's hard, but it's like some deeper part of you that speaks.
It's a
Because
liver.
it's it's the guts, right? So it's like the intuition, the higher knowledge, the call. It's like something is shifting inside where
Mm.
now our vocabulary actually changes. And recently I realized that in my vocabulary, I don't have words that are deep, heavy. I don't know. They're just like, they're almost like gone. Like if I sat at work, and here's a really good example. I sat at work the other day and four of them, and they asked me, like they wanted to bitch about the work. And it was very interesting because they wanted to complain and gossip. And when you gossip or when you get involved into the envy of something that you're not seeing, it's actually really heavy, not only energy, but the words used for that is really heavy. And I was like, but you don't even see that you get sucked into this and you either participate or you don't. And the moment you participate, you get like
Yeah.
instantaneously have the feeling that transmits through your body. And I was quiet. I was just eating because I couldn't contribute. I could not contribute to bitch about someone else who I know for no reason. It happens. It's just work. Like, right? It's almost like we have to do this, but we have to do it, whatever. Like, don't give it so much. Like, there's so much more that we can talk about it. And they ask, what did you do last week? And I was like, okay, well, I went to this program, la la la. And what was the program about? And I was like, it was about the universal love and a different way of looking at the way that we relate. And it was very beautiful and very innovative and very like a different way, a different perspective. And the moment I started talking, and I was like, well, do you really want to know? Is my question. And if you do, you can just ask me one question and then I'll elaborate. And my elaboration took 10 minutes. Yes, I do talk, but it spoke through me. It wasn't me. And my words, and another person across me literally took the glasses, tinted glasses, sunglasses, went like this.
Yeah.
Totally didn't want to hear what I had to say. Totally. I was first shocked because it was beautiful. It was like reading a poetry. It was something so light, so possible, so full of potential. It was different. It was innovative. It was inspiring. And it was like, I would want to listen to what I had to say because this just fucking came out. And they totally didn't. So it's the choice, but it's also that awareness of like, where do you blend in with your current state of energies? And really, do you wonder, is this where you want to, what do you want to do? Do you wonder even if, do you feel good, right? Is this awareness,
Mm.
like Who do you want to listen? What do you want to contribute? What is your contribution towards it? Do you ever question yourself on not only what's your purpose and why am I here? Who am I? You know, old questions, but also is there more of me? You know, like what inspires me? Like what really makes me laugh? And when was the last time that I belly laughed? That I really laughed because something was so genuinely funny. We don't do that anymore. And to me, I fucking question if I'm not having fun, you know, or if I'm not light, or if I'm not satisfied or happy. These like qualities that are lost and getting really lost really fast. So I didn't take it personally, but it was interesting to see, like, I can go there and sit on the stage and speak such different language, but a lot of people won't get it. A lot
Yeah.
of people won't get it, but it doesn't stop me to do it because I fly through it. I'm
Mm.
like, I can go on and on and on, and I feel elevated. And why would I stop it? Why would I stop it?
Yeah. Mm.
No.
That's
Right.
beautiful. Yeah, I have inherited the desire to gossip as like a tool for we use it as I think a tool for connection. Like I can connect with you if we can both talk about someone else and position ourselves as being separate. And so I've been working really hard and I'll even like out loud just be like, Eric, like I'll just call myself out. And because I have to like name what I'm doing because like you said, it's so tempting to participate because like you said, you get that feeling. It's almost like you get adopted into the groupthink and you get that high from it. But yeah, I think people get addicted to their states and to their patterns. And I think it's more than anything, like even if you're suffering, it's better to know where you are for most people. The idea of stepping into something unknown, which for you sharing at that level of depth and for how much work you've done in it, your understanding and your awareness in that field for someone that has never tapped it, it's like it's a shock. So for them, it's safer to reject, and we have different patterns of how we reject. You know, we
Mm,
can pretend to listen and just nod and hope that you never ask us a question, or we can be more like abject, more abrasive about it because that creates a barrier of, now I'm safe because that would feel unsafe for me to step into that conversation because you're actually triggering a lot of fears I have about my own relationships or how I feel on the inside or
mm,
about my mistrust for the universe. I mean, it goes on, right?
yeah.
So
Mm,
this might be a good opportunity to segue into totality.
mm. And the duality too, because
Yeah.
it's like, how do you also, you know, like we're not going to run away from the dying, but we're totally not accepting it either. It's like as if we don't know how to. You know, four noble truths of Buddha. Suffering
Mhm.
exists. We all have it. We'll figure it out. And now we have to figure out how to figure it out or how to deal with it. The fourth is like how. And you mentioned earlier, it's like coaching is like, I'm not going to like, yeah, overrated. But speaking of like true holding a person in front of you who simply when it's total dysregulation, when rationality disappears, when you're in total fear and freeze and you don't know what to do and it hurts so much that all you want to do is just run away from your skin. Those are the moments when holding a human being and human being can actually help each other. Right? Whether that be coaching is just like overrated word to use, but it's
Mhm.
literally it's like I see you. I see you and I also see a power in you too. Not only the wound, but out of that wound where the evil can just come in and sit and kind of enlarge itself in this like isolated little cave of yours that we all have. But in that wound, there's so much strength that can come in. And for us to recognize and attune to each other and kind of feel this on this like level that it's so much deeper, I think we're gonna need that a lot.
Mhm.
Like we're gonna have this innate unquestionable need to be held by another human being, that quality and this embrace that it's just more than just bitching,
Yeah.
especially about other people. Like, because I have so much to deal here. Like, I
Yeah.
need to be seen. I don't want to, I think this will be, I don't know. I really have a positive outlook that we are going to be forced to actually come back to us and say, I need you to hold me right now. And you know how in the beginning I always said, like, I'm never going to call for help. Like, I think I'm going to get forced to call for help and say, hey, buddy, I need you now. Like, can you be there for me? How
Hmm.
beautiful would that be? How fucking beautiful and vulnerable. And you on the other side, of course, you're not going to just, well, maybe you'll hang up on me. I'm just kidding. You're like, I'm busy. I can't do it now. Sorry. But you
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? So when your innate need comes from, from Carly to come and hug you, maybe there's this recognition that we're forced to kind of do exactly. And rather than thinking about ourselves, now we're there for another. And that
Yeah.
comes very altruistically and like genuinely, tenderly. Like the other is in front of you. And it's
Hmm.
more important than you because you're dealing with you 24/7 anyway. But let me give you a chance, someone else as a human being. It's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. And, I think we are participating in a potential model of the future, you and I. And that
Hmm.
I just, I wrote a newsletter and filmed a video about men's quiet struggle and how they go silent
Mm.
to deal with whatever they're dealing with. And part of the solution exploration was talking about having a relationship where you can lay it all out without judgment and just have a safe container and have some reflection space. But in, I'm grateful for the experience with Carly, but I've learned, and I think this applies to a lot of relationships, that trauma bonding is key in this sense of our relationship. I tend to become needy as a means to find connection, as a means to meet my emotional needs because of neglect. And she looks for space, openness, and like a deep sense of trust. And so those don't really match well. And when I tried to use her as my catalyst, it kind of backfired. Well, she handled it well for a long time. But at some point I realized this was not, the vibration wasn't actually resonating. There was dissonance. And with dissonance, it's just a matter of time before the instrument breaks. And with you and
Mm.
I, we stepped into this with a subject matter, but with a deep sense of openness and trust and the ability to like, what's the topic today? It doesn't have to be 28. We can go on and on about your personal struggles. And I think through this, we kind of are modeling a potential future where we have a key relationship that is not sexual or intimate, and it doesn't affect your family life or your home life, but you have that trust and that deep resonance.
Mm. Yeah, well said. And it's possible. And it's also, it fills you up enough to turn, it gives you this like quality that almost like pushes you to want to evolve more faster. Like, meaning, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, it doesn't need to be with, it can be with friends, it can be with people that you just share this like purpose, right? Or common goal or common vision, right? Or exploration and this like quality that we connect with than everything else then afterwards. Because, you live your life after every call on Sunday. I live my life. The majority of the time, 90% of it, we really don't know what's happening in each other's lives. But yet, this is the mutual purpose,
Hmm.
right? And how you and I created it, that's how we can create it with many different people. And that's the community. And
Hmm.
community, what is community right now is like everybody coming in and contributing to one thing. But does it really have to be 55 people in a village doing, like farming together in order to survive and have food to survive for tomorrow, right? But it can be different, right? It can almost like evolve on its own as its own energy, and it's like it
Yeah.
feels good. It feeds how we feed it. It also feeds us, and then we're able to share this further down. So it's
Hmm.
really cool. I'm glad that you brought this up.
Yeah.
It's
And
really,
it's,
really cool.
I think evolve, I think that word will kind of go out of fashion in the next few years as well. And I think we're going to reintroduce like a sense of fractalization,
Mm,
because a fractalization, it has a piece of the original, but it has a new direction and there's a spiraling aspect. And I think
mm,
for these sorts of relationships, it fractals out of where you are. And for you and I, the meeting was very unique and the topics were very unique. And I think for each person, it's going to look very unique, like you said, where it could be a large group, it could be intimate, personal space, it could be a very distant relationship over a topic like this. But
mm.
just trusting that there is the possibility there for a key relationship or many. And yeah, it's just going to be interesting. I think that you mentioned, I think in 26 or 27, that dialogue over monologue, that dialogue is the
Mm.
space of true creativity. And I think we're in for a explosion in human creativity in the next
Yeah,
decades.
I can't wait. And have you noticed that in these conversations, the ego somehow dissolved on its own?
Yeah. I mean, you bring this
Like,
up and I try to, it's like something
d-
in me is like, don't admit that you're not an ego because then you're
okay,
just a fool.
but we can just address it and acknowledge it. We don't have to admit it. But meaning in this 1 hour container that we're
Yeah, yeah.
sharing, it's like we're actually it feels expansive, right? So it doesn't feel push and pull that I have to prove you wrong. But what it does, it honors who you are and your uniqueness and what your contribution to this space is. As if we're just creating its own, like the world, and you bring water and I bring fire. Both are important.
Hmm.
But I think these dialogue and these like quality, intimate talks do exactly that. It's like if you're able to accept the other and also express yourself. And no matter how wrong it is, actually, because I don't pay your bills, right? So I don't have any type of sort of attachment or role to play in your life, right? Maybe, but that's why it doesn't matter. I want to be able to express myself, right? And you take it so well and you receive it, you hold it, you honor it, you respect it, and then you show yourself up. So you're almost like unlayering your true self and your uniqueness slowly but surely. And we're not really judging. There's no ego in it. And I love it because usually when it's ego, I'm dead tired afterwards because I'm
Hmm.
really trying to prove you wrong or to defend myself. But this doesn't really exist. So in these spaces
Yeah.
like this, it slowly kind of dissolves itself out.
Hmm.
Really cool.
Yeah, by that definition, I can agree that there's no ego.
I wonder, is it because we're Pisces? But that helps too.
Yeah.
They were so mutable and we're adaptable and, you know, okay. Totality, the gift. Can't believe we're already talking for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Come on.
Do you want me to speed up?
No. Okay. I missed you. It's been weeks.
Yeah. You had
Oh,
a good uh retreat. I don't know what to call it.
really good.
Yeah.
Good and interesting. And it's good study. Maybe we can study that the next time. But I mean, it crossed my mind. It's May 2025 and we started
Hmm.
December 2023,
Yeah.
2 years later. Time. Also, can I ask you something? I wanted to ask you
Uh-huh.
this question.
Yeah.
Do you have time sense of a time where it's no longer equal in the future and in the past, rather than the past stays lengthy as it is, meaning we all are aware of the past, but yet the future somehow is just like coming closer. Like it's like there's this sense of I can no longer plan in future. It's tomorrow. It's literally just tomorrow what I have. I'm kind of pushed from the future in the present, but yet I'm still having past time
Mhm.
to deal with. Clearly, it's not like shrinking on a both sides at the same time.
Mhm. I will first share what I think Richard says, which there's kind of a wall at 2027 where we won't be able to see beyond it until we get there. Um,
Ooh, he
yeah,
did
there's
say that.
because of the level of evolution and shift, I think. And I think he mentioned the same thing about 2013 was the other date. But
Hmm.
um but on a personal level, I am reading and rereading this book called Awareness, and it's really helping with being present. And in that sense, everything else feels like illusion. Like it just like even when you bring up the past, there's just so many unknowns and so much agreed upon history that was written by victors. So it's, there's just a lot of who knows, and of course we don't know the future. We can
Mm,
plan or we can have goals. We can set ourselves along a path, but
mm,
we only have where we are, and the more I step into that, the more happiness I feel. So
totally.
that's yeah.
As if we're learning real fast how to let go of the past, you said, because it no longer is relevant. And also, you can't prove what's right, what's wrong any longer because we don't trust anything anymore. Everything is disinformation and misinformation. And you can't really hold on to the present. The only thing can be let go, let be.
hmm it's so funny how this perspective pisses people off.
Why? What, really?
Yeah, like
But you have no choice. It's
if you tell
happening
someone
already
that
for you.
that history doesn't matter, like I have a number
Ah.
of friends, or that like how can you trust that you know the accurate version of events? They're like, well, we have this thing, this piece of evidence, this piece. It's like, yes, and those are, I don't know. It's
Hmm.
there's a strong defense. I think this goes back to the fear of death, the egregore, and wants to pull you into, like I said in the beginning, it wants to pull you up at this level of, in order for me to feel safe, to feel alive, to feel like I have some control, I need to have the scope and the range of past and future, as well as current events, which are also illusion. And
Hmm.
it's like none of that is truly affecting you. It's all just a means to kind of self-numb, actually. We feel a sense of catharsis when if you read a good history book or you research a lot of news, like you feel cathartic, like you feel like there's not a big charge in you, right? But that big charge or that unknown is the flavor of present awareness. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's just
Hmm.
funny to me. I'm like, this would piss so many people off, but I'm learning to just say it
Hmm.
and do it anyway.
My new one is it will piss you off until it doesn't.
Right. Can't
Like
be pissed
you'll
forever.
it's like you'll start putting so much, I don't know. I mean, I contemplate about that's even like, but who cares what I say?
Yeah.
Right? It's like at the end of the day, who cares what I say? You have a lot to say too. This is just my story, but yours is different. And you go ahead and say your story.
Yeah. And again, there's like levels of illusion to our own stories. I think they're important.
Mm,
We learn how to come back to ourselves eventually.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's a temptation to attach to the stories themselves instead of like, well, what's your story? And
But when I say the story, I don't mean your trauma story or, your survival story or your identification with my point of view, my liberal ways, my democratic, like, or I don't know, surviving the flood or global warming type of story. No, what I mean is this. Okay, so there's this teaching from Dr. Mark Garfney, which was the teacher in the school that I went to. And I've been studying him for like good, like almost like half a year, right? And he speaks specifically about the new story of value. And the new story of value is not no longer my value, but we're talking about the intangible values, something that is innate for our humanity, and it's based on the fear of survival, of the
Mhm.
civilization survival. But if we were to alter anything related to our civilization, it will not only alter the Earth, galaxy, it will alter who knows what else in the universe, right? So we must survive. And for us to survive, we have to find the together purpose. And together purpose is based on the shared story value. And that value, shared value, comes with uniqueness and your own uniqueness because you're a unique set of your molecules that will never be reproduced again, right, in the universe and in the existence of it. So you are now who you are, and that's the chance. So with it, you have the obligation to show your uniqueness. But how do you show that uniqueness that comes out of you unless you find it? And unless you know your values that are not mental and that are not logical or analytical, or I must and I become a CEO of TikTok, for example. No, it's very much, but it doesn't matter if I'm CEO of Facebook or others. If I make so much money, that is not my value. My value is something different, right? And my value are those qualities that we can find and discover. So if I were to ask you, what's your value? I don't know. I can't name them, but I feel them. There's a texture inside. You deep
Mhm.
down know the kindness exists in you, right? For humanists, you know that there's love. You know
Yeah.
that you feel bad or sad, that you want to help, you want to contribute. There's this like need for it, right? And extension behind you. It matters. It matters. It matters. It matters a lot that you're alive, and we'll discover this. So it's like, what is the shared value for us? What are we sharing? Is it really Paris Agreement and the global warming? No, Earth will evolve. And we evolved to this point, like Earth too. Like she's gonna change and we're gonna change. But we cannot go backwards in evolution. We have to go up and we have to figure it out. And we might as well just figure it out together. The good way, right? The kind way. I don't know. It's like I can't even cry when I speak about it, but it's the shared value, and the story really comes with knowing your value. So when you speak your value, it's like, I cannot hate you. My value is anti-hate. Like if I can help you, I will help you. If I cannot, then it's not meant for me to help you. You're meant to find someone else. It's acceptance. It's this like, gosh, human qualities. Ugh, I can go on and on. I should write
Yeah.
about this. That's
Yeah,
my
please.
Substack, though.
Please.
So,
I It's a good question, like when you ask, well, what's your story? And then it leads into this evolution of thought around values or value. And even then, it looks like that only comes out through participation in life in a shared environment or
mm,
shared experience, right? Because I can
mm,
say that I'm a kind person, but there's such different qualities to kindness that come out
mm,
in different circumstances. And so we often get trapped by concepts themselves because we're titrating down reality, sorry for the bump,
mm,
into a language system. Any language system is an attempt to describe reality itself. It's never going to meet at that level. It's always going to be a fragmentation and not in a good way. So,
what do you mean, not in a good way?
well, if we fragment down, for example, the difficulty in translation, like Carly and I were just watching, we started watching a Spanish movie. And there was a joke, and it was we're watching the captions in English, and there was a joke that came through, and I was just like, I don't get the joke. I don't know why they're laughing on the screen. It's maybe cultural, but also in the language itself. Like some word they're using when translated to English isn't humorous.
Mm.
And so it's from that lens of of where Spanish came from. It was this is what reality is, and then in English, no, this is what reality is. German, Serbian, Russian, on and
Mm.
on and on, and each are a fragmentation of the whole, which is reality is unspeakable. We can't name it. We can't put concepts against it. As soon as you tell a child that the bird is a sparrow, he looks at any bird and he says sparrow until he learns, right? He learns the different way to titrate. So
I
all that
see.
to say, the value, maybe what he's talking about, and I'm not sure. I'm familiar with Mark Gaffney, I think. That name sounds really familiar. But maybe what he's talking about is the value of shared experience of tasting life, participating in it.
He's talking about the
Hmm.
universal love, and the love as the point where everything starts in. And the story of value that we must find again because in order to survive, in order to survive. It's so, and to step away from Gaffney's work, like I'll just give you the example. Like I was talking, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, it's like we don't really talk about ethics anymore, nor morals, right? As human beings,
Hmm.
there's no such a thing, concept of it, right? So concept is getting lost. It's like Latin, right? It's like nobody talks about it. What is moral? What is kind? Like we are losing the sense of what this feels like, what this means, right? It's like
Or
what is
it's
ethical, what is not ethical to do
Mhm.
to another human being,
or
especially
it's
now.
or it's fractalizing because the advent of the internet, like we have so much more available experiences that are being shared as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you speak the fractal, you what you mean, I think how I understand it is almost like it's almost experiential. You are really just down to your
Yeah.
experience to speak. And that's maybe where you connect exactly with the souls and tribe and connections that you are meant to blend your energies with. You know how just 10 years ago on Facebook, we wanted to be liked by 8 billion people?
Hmm.
And it meant a lot for us to get that one like. Now it doesn't anymore. I mean, speaking from experience, right? It doesn't really matter. If I get one like, I will do my best. My best comes out for that one like for you, just for you.
Hmm.
Right. So if I write the story, I write it with the sense of, oh my God, I hope you receive it. You're somewhere there in this world also trying to find exactly what I have to say. It's my sharing to you. And if I get one like, it's a winning. And if
Hmm.
we all contribute to one like, we're actually helping each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think our narrative is just like it's really easy to get stuck in the narrative of suffering and victimization and doomsday. It's so, so easy. But if we can do anything, is to change the way we speak in our vocabulary, which is the heart vocabulary, the dictionary that comes out of experiencing life, actually experiencing life, because not everybody is going to have. So my son is red in my eyes.
Do you want
Not
to shift? You can.
I'm gonna keep going this way. Uh, so I thought, okay, all right. Anyway, we can go on this.
I know. So
This
totality,
fired us up.
it's interesting. It's part of the ring of illusion. We've talked about illusion quite a bit.
What about dreams?
Oh my gosh. What about dreams?
Do you think they're necessary for survival? Oh, that made you think. Dreams as imagination.
Oh, okay. I was going literal. Hmm.
Oh, like capacity to imagine. There's only
Oh,
God I believe in. If the God that I don't believe in doesn't exist. And I believe what I can imagine is possible.
say that one more time.
There's there's only a God I believe in. There's only a heaven I believe if there's a heaven. If I believe there's a heaven, I'll create it.
Mm.
So as if like from the mind to the material, from the conscious to material worlds, we are living our thoughts, our manifestation. We are currently the matter that manifested from the thoughts into the matter. So if I am capable of thinking and imagining, am I also capable of changing the way the world is right now? If I use my imagination, because it's all I can. I can't go out there and have the army to fight the wars, but I can use the power of my mind to imagine a different world.
Yeah. This might be annoying, but on a base level, I think it is absolutely necessary for survival because even with something that you have, like say you had an army, you still need to do the work of imagining using that army or what power you get from the army or what might you change now that you have the power.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's a great question. You had me down a rabbit trail of actual dreams. I'm like, oh, that's a great one. So this came up, your question came up when I said this is part of the ring of illusion. Can you bridge? Did that trigger it, or you just kind of had that thought anyway? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did
Because
that trigger it for you?
we think of dreams as illusion. They're not there for nothing. They're also the product of our mind, our imagination, and also our capacity. Right. So it's like we don't know what that is. We don't know what that is. We can assume, we can write stories about it, but there is a meaning about it, and it's not for nothing. It's very
Mm.
much in our mind. You imagine if the dream was moving to another planet physically, but it's very much in our conscious and unconscious mind. It is the power of our mind, untamed power that we need to figure out how to tame
Mm.
and use. And in the mind comes imagination as well. And it
Mm.
also comes from the mind, the suffering and the happiness,
Mm.
the narrative, the story. If we change the narrative, will something change? I don't know. I'm going to cry right now because it's like, damn.
Please.
Meaning, like, I wish the narratives have the power to change massively all at once, right? But, like, because we have the language of communication, because we have the built survival, skill to communicate our needs, like, how come I'm only communicating my suffering? How come I'm not communicating? You see, like, I'm kind of getting a little pissed about it. Like, how come I'm not communicating what else can be possible?
Mm. Okay, so
Okay.
whilst the whilst the
I
28th shadow
just,
fears death itself, the 32nd shadow fears dying unfulfilled.
oof.
And that's maybe what you're tapping into by getting pissed is like, let's get a move on because we got a lot of life to do and we're stuck here.
Exactly. At what point you're just gonna let go
Yeah.
and freaking, I don't know, take responsibility for being here. Hey,
Yeah.
buddy.
And just be present. Like, well, it's all you can do. It
Mm.
is. Richard says the ring of illusion causes human beings to postpone their lives, seeking a sense of purpose in the future. Your thinking is based upon fulfillment then rather than now. So we often like pit ourselves against this is the maybe the trap of imagination is
Mm.
actually this is the trap of imagination. I'll be
The path.
happy once
Mm.
I
Mm.
do X, Y, and Z. I'll be happy once I have this relationship. I'll be happy once I become the CEO of TikTok, whatever it is. And some of that is based in judgment, so the inner critic looking at you or me right now and saying you're not doing enough, or
Mm.
you you have so much more and you're just showing up small. And it's like, what, where is this coming from?
Mm.
Why is it why is the critic voicing right now? What does it want from me? And how can I
So,
repurpose it?
but how do you know you're doing your purpose?
Oh, I have a very unique view on purpose, but
Mm.
um
Want to share? I won't tell anyone.
don't you dare. I believe that purpose is being where you are. Like,
Mm.
I mean, if you get that, then I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
But
And
purpose
doing
is like,
exactly what you're doing.
yeah, to the life that you've been given. It's the marrying of karma, dharma, and awareness. So, again, it's this is the ring of illusion that will die unfulfilled if we don't do all that we imagine. But this is a fear of death. It's connected to the fear of death. It's a way to kind of gain control over the fear by saying like, I have a plan, and once I enact my plan, my fear will go away. Instead of
Mm.
saying, this fear is real, it's just here. And it's part of this experience in this unknown.
Mm. What's really interesting, because I share what you just said, and I wholeheartedly agree, is that the purpose is really just being and kind of like being here and being doing this exactly what you're doing, right? So it doesn't sit there in the future.
Hmm.
And the hardest thing when I do work with clients and I ask them to discover, to kind of just say a clear desire on what is that they desire to accomplish in the next 10 days, 10 sessions. It's very hard to do that.
Yeah.
It's like it's very hard for people to like come down to this is exactly what I know I need. This exact, and it's a simple sentence. It's like I want to feel fulfilled, but how does that look like? And we
Yeah.
start diving into it. It's very hard to even imagine purpose. Purpose for the 10-hour session,
Yeah.
10 sessions, 1 hour. Imagining the purpose of the life. So it's impossible. You feel it, and you feel it as it comes, and it comes differently every day, every moment, right? So it's like, but there's this knowing, right? Can you tell when you are kind of living it in a moment and when you're not? When
Hmm.
you're on your track for somewhere, and when you're kind of like exited the wrong way, can you feel this in you? I mean, in Hawaii, it's really hard to not be on the track because it's like you're
No, I
blending
mean,
in with trees and you have leaves
yeah.
behind your ears and stuff like that. So it's like you're
Yeah.
tuned in.
If I get out in nature and I'm outside a lot, I'm good. But, we have our inner lives, our in the home lives, and I'm still working through patterns and habits and inner betrayals. So, yeah, it shows up and it looks like desire to numb, desire to escape, desire to um, participate in illusion. And
Mm.
there's so many ways that can show up. It can disguise itself like mastery, like
Mm.
a very noble goal. I'm going to master a skill or a technique or life itself, but that is participating in the illusion that your purpose lies and your happiness lies outside of this very moment.
So good.
Totality. So good. Whatever role you are playing in the game of life, lover, villain, master, disciple, or seeker, As long as your commitment is total, you will discover a mysterious detachment running beneath the role itself. And this detachment is the reward for your courageous totality. It's so beautiful.
Mm. Do you think we're learning detachment collectively?
I can only speak from my experience because I don't know. I know of people that talk about becoming more attached, but
Attached or detached?
detached.
Mm.
Collectively, if I had to guess, I would say so. Yeah. I feel bad for you.
It's okay.
Send you some curtains.
It's okay. I can just be.
What about
Wow.
you? Do you think we're learning detachment
I do.
collectively? Yeah.
I do. Like you know how we are like extension of the collective in many ways, but we're also
Hmm.
individual. So if I feel it, I almost feel like if I feel it, then collective probably feels it. But not everybody. I'm not talking like
Yeah.
8 billion people at once. I'm talking collective, like group of people. I don't know, like tiny
Hmm.
little 20 of us must feel somewhere in the world the same exact detachment. It's like I cannot, yeah, it's, yeah.
Hmm.
But I want to ask you this. I highlighted this and I want to pick your brain on this. It says to get to the gift of totality, once your sense of identity and separateness must first die, leaving only life in its place. Once there's no localized center of awareness, there is no death because there's nothing to die. Once there's no localized center of awareness, there's no death because there's nothing to die.
Mm.
So, is awareness what it needs to die? And we're just starting to gain it, awaken it. I was a little confused there and
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah. We're stepping into Siddhic realms, the deep meditation, Vipassana, the processes of a lot
L-
of work.
Learning.
Yeah. And
Like, mm,
what were you saying?
no, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. It's like getting into the paradox. It feels like you gain awareness, you build levels and levels of more and more until there's nothing. Like,
Hmm.
or the other journey is into
Mm,
nothingness, as deep as you can go, and out to everything. I think they're both two flavors of
mm,
the same experience. But I hesitate to claim this experience for myself. I mean, I've had meditations where I felt strongly detached, almost like floating and very still mentally. Um, but there's also this illusion that it's a state that will be achieved in the future. And I recognize that as well. And I do feel more and more, and I have to thank the Gene Keys because in speaking them and having these conversations, there is a sense of redefining the self, almost like repositioning my place amongst the totality where the moat of awareness is expanded out
mm,
almost
mm,
from a pinpoint to a field, right? It's like you don't need to look behind you to know that there's someone standing there. You have this field of awareness, but
Mm.
Yeah, we're getting into the juicy city territory. What are your thoughts on that quote?
It's like there's a sense of um let me just pull you up. It's not only me, it's now the story becomes a whole, a much bigger than just myself. Let me just, I can't believe that. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Um, as we gain the awareness, there's almost like this aha, the gaps that he was talking about. And oh, I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning. And my mom said this one sentence a long time ago. And she's like, you're learning so much. Like you're constantly studying, studying, feeling this, like you're reading all these books, like you're going to all these schools. Like at some point, you're just going to get oversaturated with it and you'll stop. Out of blue, you'll wake up in the morning. And I was like, wow, this is actually exactly how you push, 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 push. And then there's no more space. And then it almost stops because you're oversaturated. You're saturated enough. And to me, it's like this, like gaining of awareness is like such an aspect of ourselves that we are becoming familiar with more. And, like not through different techniques and not only of Vipassana, but rather than it's becoming part of us to be aware that the truth is not just what everybody says, that the truth has deeper feeling to it or meaning, or it comes from a different angle. It's spoken differently. There's like, like I also have my truth, and my truth is okay to be, my point of view is also like this one, right? So we're gaining this aspect of ourselves as the capacity to almost like handle more. To me, it means we're expanding the capacity so much so, but when there's nothing else to learn, it's just gonna become done, like saturated, right? It's like completed to
Mm.
the totality. And when there's nowhere, nothing else to be. So, right. So if I am gaining this capacity to understand just because I'm afraid of dying or, getting complete, like meaning like losing the humanity or civilization, like dying out as a civilization, I'll do anything in my power to actually survive. So this capacity is growing, growing, growing for us to understand more and take on more than our parents did. We have capacity to absorb so much more. But at what point all of that is just saturated so much so there's nothing else to learn and everything is to die out. To me, it was
Mm.
really interesting because I didn't think of it as something that must die in order for us to gain that totality. And I was just surprised by it actually, because awareness to me became a different point, a different puzzle in my wholeness that I can now play with because I'm aware that my mind is doing one thing, that my heart is feeling differently, that my body is like totally doing its own thing, that, I have this purpose, that I'm unique, all these like different sorts of puzzles about me became okay. And I was like, oh, but I'm not only me, Milica, I am so many parts of me. And I'm aware of it. And I'm aware of that. So to me, it was a tool. It was a gained layer of me that I wasn't. And now he talks about when this center dies, then there's no fear of death anymore.
Mm. Mm. Were you surprised that that wisdom came from your mom? Did she do this in her life, or she just sees it in you?
I have a theory that I have a theory about me and my mom that I'm living her life, but yet we're one and the same.
Hmm.
And that through me, she's able to experience life differently, not through her, which is that duality. I don't
Hmm.
know, the two in one.
Yeah.
And that she saw the potential in me she speaks to me as she's speaking to herself. It's a little complex to
Yeah.
understand, but yeah, she just knows.
Yeah. Hmm.
And these things is what she would tell me 15 years ago, like 20, 30 years ago. And now I remember them and I'm like, what? How did you know in the world? Like, I'm Pisces. I'm supposed to be psychic. You're just Taurus. You're supposed to just be stubborn and fixated. Like, this doesn't match. How do you know? But
Hmm.
she knows. And to me, it's like, you didn't just alter my future or whatever. You didn't kind of give me the note, but it actually came true, which is true. At some point, there will not be no knowledge that I'm hungry for any longer.
Hmm. So do you desire the stage of saturation? And what would it look like to instead, like, I imagine a blank white piece of paper and you're painting, trying to fill it to the edges. And what would it look like to instead begin erasing?
I think that that hunger moves to other areas of you and other layers of you. You know how he speaks in shadows, just die off, falling off the cliff because you reach the point where you just push in another layer of you, like evolve to another side where the city becomes a shadow for the next city. It's like pushing through the limits, like something bursts on the top but closes off to the bottom. And to me, this like intellectual hunger and like thirst might become a body experiential thirst or sensational thirst or heart thirst or energetic exchange thirst or some sort of other layer that is not stuck in intellect. That's AI, right? So it's like we talked about this on AI. It's like AI will replace everything that we came out of our mind, but it cannot replace everything else which is coming alive. All other fields that are actually becoming alive.
Hmm.
You can't. You'll hug that robot and you'll feel shit. But you'll hug me and you'll be like the best hug ever.
Yeah, well, I'm sure a hug from you would be wonderful. But
I do give a good hugs. Somebody at the gym told me that the other day. I was like, she hugs real good. I was like, it's heart to heart. It's like I don't do it. It's heart to heart.
yeah, um, there there's already a big push to like have that AI connection, and there's a lot of people that it's almost like if you don't know the potential for human connection, you'll take what you can get. And
Mm.
this is the sad, yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, it's part
You'll
of,
take you'll take what you can get because you're gonna for some reason be free to ask AI for it.
yeah, you're, people feel trapped enough that they'll just take the easy path. I mean, it's just a bell curve of experience, right? So you and I are at one side of a desire to bring greater awareness to humanity and help increase creativity, build connections, strengthen what it means to be, like, strengthen the story of what it means to be human. And then there's on the bell curve, there's the other side where people just want comfort.
Mm.
And there's going to be a lot of solutions for comfort.
And a lot of emptiness afterwards. It's like having a sex that you regret for the day after. You feel like
Yeah, I mean,
more empty,
it's
pseudo.
just the evolution of prostitution in a way, or
Mm,
cheap dopamine.
pseudo.
Hmm.
Well, we're here. And maybe we can offer free hug and have a retreat for just hugging
Yeah,
one day, like just like talking.
yeah. Well, it's interesting.
You and I should do something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna get your perspective on this. Lately, I've been less open about just hugging,
Ooh.
and
Mm.
it might be worth exploring. But it's almost like I'm rebelling against the idea that the hugs come as a matter of like goodbye, see you again. Because what I find is when the hugs are really shallow, yeah, I'm like could have just done without that one. That actually left me feeling worse. Because
Wow.
you're so close. It's like just
So when you come to hug someone, do you come like this or do you come like hi?
it
Like,
depends on if it's like I'm someone that's taller than me, then I'll open right up because I'm like, well, I got to get my arms around this huge person. But
there's someone taller than you.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are taller than me. But for people that are shorter than me, I try to just if it's a hug, I try to be like I'm here. You let me know at what level you're coming in, and I'll match you.
Mm,
But then there's the cordial hugs of like family friends. Our kids are playing together. We don't really know each other that well. Nice to see you. And it's kind of like shoulder, turn away,
mm.
hats. And that I'm like that when I sense that that is the way it's gonna go, I'm just like just gonna stay out of it and hope that my my quota for quality of hugs matches the experiences I can have.
Picky when it comes to
Yeah,
hugs.
picky. Oh, needy about hugs.
So you know how I hug? I jump on you and I literally come, oh my God. And I'm like, I can't help it. And I go directly heart to heart. Today at the gym this morning, actually, the coach, I didn't see him for 2, 3 weeks. And as I was going, he came next to me and he was side by side next to me. He's lovely, man. I love all of them out there, actually. And he comes in and says, how's it going? Where have you been? And I left my rover and I jumped on the side of him just to give him a quick hug. And he was just like grabbing it because he wanted to take as much as of my body. And I read there was a saying, I read it somewhere. I think it was Esther Perel. I can't remember, like some sort of analysis on body connection and how body regulates itself with another body. Meaning, even if you go to bed angry at
Yeah.
each other, you always go together because
Hmm.
body does its own thing and
Hmm.
regulation comes with touching another human being. So it's much more than what we think of as a hug. It's more like, oh my God, I feel embraced by another body. And how I look at it is like it does its own wonders and magic on the body level. So I just let it happen for the body. I was like, buddy, this is for you. Ah! And I hug it. I hug it. I miss kissing in the chicks, but I will
Yeah.
hug. I hug all the time.
I mean, you can throw in. I think it's the two where it's culturally like, what just happened? You
Yeah.
know, because the instinct is like, oh, I'm gonna meet you here in the middle. You're like, no, I'm going
You,
around.
we have culturally 3 times kissing. Did I tell you
Oh,
this?
three? That's great.
Yeah, it goes like, and then it comes actually right here close to the
Yeah.
lip.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter the age. Doesn't It's never taken in the wrong way. It's actually taken in a loving way, and in mwah, mwah, mwah. And sometimes people would just like turn and like rather than turn away, turn in, and
Yeah.
it will meet. The mouth will meet with elderly people, with friends. It would just be such a different narrative about it, and
Yeah.
very very welcoming. So
Yeah. I
cool.
think we could afford some more of that cultural experience here. But I think
Totally.
we have a friend who her husband is away working a lot, and she just gave the vibe of like, you're not allowed to hug me because they have cameras up in their house, all this stuff. Like, it's some paranoia, some jealousy. So I was like, okay, no big deal. I don't have to. And then I think I just carried that down, and we mostly hang out with other moms with kids, and then sometimes with dads. And it's just become like I guess I don't need to hug. And there's also an element of like, if I jump on you and you're smaller than me, you might get scared.
Mm. Or I'll just grab you and put you in my one line because I can carry you with my one arm. But it's kind of like, you know, it's messed up. I feel like it's messed up that this was so almost like kind of messed up from men in Western culture, where it's like you're almost like freaked out if you want to hug someone for someone else to.
Yeah.
It's like this engraved fear about it, and you're closed. But you need it. You need it for
Yeah.
survival. Maybe a threat can be, I'm gonna hug you because I'm gonna survive because of it, and it's just
Yeah.
one free.
Yeah. I'll carry this with me and report back. Try to get more hugs here next week.
Heart to heart. I hug men a lot, and they're always welcome my hug, and they hug so well, and they hug with such a genuine embrace. And
Mm-hmm.
this is all like gym friends. I'm talking men with extra testosterone, right? So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like if anybody can be manly, it's the men in the gym, right? So it's like, and they hug genuinely. It's such a beautiful thing. But yeah,
Hmm.
report back.
Yeah.
All right. How do you feel?
I feel good.
This was really good.
Hmm. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much.
How do you say beautiful in Serbian?
Predivno, prelepo.
Predivno. And then
Prelepo,
pred
prelepo,
prelepo.
prelepo.
I have
Oh,
I can't roll my tongue.
what do you
So
mean? R?
don't
Can you
ask.
do that? R?
No.
Really?
And our Russian friend, she said, yes, if you can't roll your tongue in my country, then you have a speech impediment, she said. I'm like, well, I had this instinct as a kid because everyone's like, oh yeah, roll your tongue. And I would try, I would do exercises for weeks.
You
Just
mean
can't.
like R? You can't
Yeah,
say R?
I
R.
can't.
R.
I
It's like,
cannot.
is your tongue, it's like, can you stick out your tongue? Oh, okay. So it's not like,
It's not
oh,
tied. It's, I don't know. I've always, it feels like a wide tongue.
a white tongue. Can you whistle?
Wide, wide. Yeah, I can
A
whistle.
white. Okay. We digress. Okay. So, thank you.
Tongues,
I
hugs, and
love you.
whistles. Love you too.
I'm sorry. I thank you. I love, what is Pono Pono? I was singing the Pono Pono song. Have you heard of Pono Pono?
I know the word and I've heard the song, but I don't know the
Isn't it
song
Hawaiian?
personally. Hmm.
Yeah, it's a I love you. I thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Mm. Next time.
Next time. Ciao.
Yep.